Okay, I think here we are. And good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone joining us from different parts of the world. My name is Sofia Rizou. I'm the Director of Client Success and Mental Health at Maritime and Healthcare Group. And I'm truly honored to welcome you to today's session, Women's Wellbeing in Maritime from Policy to Practice. Today's session brings together voices from policy, education, life at sea, and clinical practice. Each of our speakers sees a different part of the picture, and together they help us understand what real support for women looks like across the full maritime journey, from cadetship to leadership and from ship to shore. Our goal today is simple: to explore what works, what still fails, and what we can all do to make maritime workplaces safer, more inclusive, and more supportive for women. I would like now to introduce you our speakers. With us today is Dr. Asif. He is the Global Wellbeing Program Coordinator at the International Transport Workers Federation, representing over 19 million transport workers worldwide, including 500,000 seafarers. He has worked with ILO, with WHO, and UNAIDS on well-being and safety frameworks since 2006. Our second panelist is Anna. She is a maritime educator, researcher, and passionate advocate for women's empowerment. She works at the intersection of research, mentorship, and education reform, helping future seafarers navigate systems that are not always built with women in mind. Our third speaker is Achala. She is a second mate from Sri Lanka and currently on board. She began her career in 2008, took a break to raise her daughter, and returned to sea in 2023, one of the very few women serving on deck today. Her journey represents both resilience and the evolving realities of life at sea. And our fourth speaker is Fatma. She is a counseling psychologist specializing in maritime mental health. And at AMG, she works on psychotherapy, research, and evidence-based well-being programs for seafarers with deep experience in identifying risk patterns and building proactive support systems. So thank you everyone for joining, and I will pass the microphone to Fatma to coordinate this conversation.
Thank you, Sofia. We are really happy to see all of you here. Welcome again. We are going to start this conversation with Dr. Asif. Dr. Asif, through your global work with ITF, you witnessed how policies evolve and how sometimes they struggle to reach the real people on board ships. From your global experience, what are the main gaps between policy intentions and the actual well-being outcomes experienced by women at sea?
Thank you, Fatma, Fatma and Sofia for organizing this webinar, because I think it's a very important topic. Again, if you look at the global statistics, number of women seafarers on board ship is less than 2%. In fact, theoretically, if we take off the hospitality section of the cruise seafarer, the figure will be less than 0.5%. So from the ITF side, we really, as a global trade union organization, we really want to promote women seafarer. So there should be something not right, maybe 100%. That's why less number of women seafarer on board ship. So when we are talking about policies, and again, an implementation, it's not about policies regarding good policies regarding women seafarer, creating an enabling environment for the women seafarer on board ship. Is it overall, there are lots of good policies everywhere. Like we have participants from Turkey here, we have participants from Sri Lanka here. I live in London, but I'm from Bangladesh. So the biggest challenge for any policy is that we develop policy, but what's the implementation? So, and again, just before I move into the specific topics of women seafarers and the policy issues, for example, MLC, which is the Bible for seafarers, rights, well-being. Like this is really the cornerstone for the seafarers, safety. But most of the important seafaring supplying country have ratified, and what I understand, Turkey going to ratify very soon about MLC. So, but the biggest challenge for us as a trade union is that implementation of MLC. There are lots of violations of MLC like after even ratification. So we have to keep in mind that when we are talking about policy in relation to promoting women seafarers, give them a safe space, give them the opportunity, make sure the diversity is included. But we must remember that any policy implementation is a challenge, not only for the related to women seafarers and their employment. So that's the first point I want to take. For example, there are policy on equality. For example, there are very good policy on equality. Even ILO Convention, UN rights, everything is there. It's not about women seafarers. But again, when we talk about equality, on ship, the men and women seafarer qualified. Like, for example, Anna is a qualified seafarer. Achala is a qualified seafarer. So there should be equal opportunity for everyone, so in relation to the overall thing. So, but again, at the same time, the issue, the reality is that sometimes when, like I will hear from Achala, I'm looking forward to hear from Achala, but issues that sometimes on board ship is still a male-dominated society environment. We must acknowledge that. Again, on the container, cargo, oil tanker is mainly men. So that the issue is that sometimes the women seafarer has to prove themselves a little more than the male seafarer, because male seafarer think it's my man's job. I am a macho man, I am strong. I can do. Oh, girl, they're biologically weak is a completely myth. It's when we are talking about seafarer, yeah, you need strong physically, but it's more about your technical knowledge. Are you ready for those jobs? That is more important. So again, I think this about when you talk about equality, the biggest challenge is that we have to create that awareness, create that environment that seafarers feel comfortable that, yes, when we're talking about equality for seafarers, there are equal opportunity there. Again, and sometimes to show I am good enough, sometimes they overdo sometimes. And from my experience, that can be very stressful that, oh, I have to prove myself that I am not equal, I'm better than a man colleague. Again, I'm looking for to hear from Achala, but I think that can be very stressful. At the same time, for example, ITF has worked with the International Chamber of Shipping, which represents global seafarer on a large scale. We have a zero tolerance. We have a booklet on harassment and bullying. There's zero tolerance on that. So there is a lots of example where even a captain was fired for sexually harassing or bullying a seafarer on board ship. So there are plenty of examples. The biggest challenge for us is to convey the message to the women seafarer, especially young, like very qualified seafarer who wants our cadets moving to the career. So to create that awareness, create that environment. First of all, I will use the word awareness that there is zero tolerance on sexual harassment, and there is a grievance procedure. There is a grievance handling procedure. So don't keep quiet. And again, in our life, forget about seafarer, in our social life, in our family life, we saw harassment happens, sexual harassment even we saw in our family life. It's all about somebody raising, no, it is not acceptable. I think then again, we need to create awareness, all of us in this panel, many of us listening to it. What I understand, Sofia, you are monitoring, maybe there'll be some questions coming. But I think the most important thing is to create the awareness that it is a safe environment. There is a very strong, robust mechanism from the union side, employer side about zero tolerance. At the same time, for example, when I go to the seminar, especially cruise ship seafarer, they're saying that the recruitment agency compel them to have mandatory pregnancy test, which is completely illegal according to the IMO medical guideline. So many seafarers don't know about it. So they listen to the, and again, we have to understand that some agencies are good, some agencies are not that good. Some medical practitioners are good. Even as a doctor, I take the blame that sometimes they are not good. So for example, the simplest thing is the pregnancy test. Many countries, it is compulsory, but according to the IMO medical guideline, it is not compulsory, to make it very blunt and very clear. So when we do the seminar, we make it very clear that it is not compulsory. If you are faced that issue, that you are told to get a pregnancy test, let us know, and we will handle that situation from the trade union perspective. In all major seafaring supplying countries, in Turkey, we have Dada, Lebanese, we have union there. In Sri Lanka, we have NUSS. In India, we have NUSI. In Philippines, we have AMUSO. So we have very strong union everywhere. This is all about women seafarers raising their hand. No, it's not acceptable. It's not right. I will not do this, and I will talk to my union about it. I think it's all about, when you're talking about policy, it's all about creating the awareness, make the women seafarers know about it. This seminar, Wellbeing is a perfect example for everybody to know what's the reality going on. So yeah, that's the few things I want to share, my initial thoughts to start the discussion rolling. And I'm here to get involved, engaged with other participants, and maybe some questions from the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Asif. It is really important to have this awareness and don't feel alone while this is happening, because like you said, there are many organizations who cares about women seafarers and really have good choices and good examples when it comes to these issues. Thank you for this input. So I would like to go on with Anna. And Anna, we often say that policy provides structure, but culture provides direction. From your research and mentorship experience, because I know you have quite an experience, what are the most persistent barriers women face in maritime education and the early stages of their careers?
Thank you very much, Sofia, for organizing this, and Fatma as well. And I thank everyone for joining today to this panel. I'm Anna Karunatilleke. And to answer your question, actually, when we take this subject, actually, women in maritime, women are actually a very small percentage, as Dr. Asif had mentioned earlier. Of course, even in Sri Lanka, they are very small percentage. We have more women in the cruise lines, but when you take actually the cargo and the commercial vessels, it's even less than the global percentages. But the thing is, there is something else here. Now, when we talk about women being able to do the job, I'll tell a small example here. Now, when we take Usain Bolt, he's a runner, famous runner. You might have heard about him. And his maximum speed is 27.33 miles per hour. While Elaine Thompson, the fastest lady, her speed is 24.1 miles per hour. The distance, the difference between the race of the 100-meter race that they have done is the Elaine Thompson is 10.54 seconds and Usain Bolt is only 9.58 seconds. So typically when we take this as an example between a trained man and a trained woman, a skilled man and skilled woman, the actual differences are much less than what we perceive. But unconsciously, we have this thing that we have a bias, that we think that women cannot do the job and that they are weaker. This is actually not factually or medically or scientifically correct, actually. Because when you take a well-trained woman and a well-trained man, you don't find that much of a big difference. And you can take it across all the industries. If you take the trained people, I'm not talking about non-trained people, the trained people. But then you see that there's this bias. So this bias, because there's a lot of encouragement now to join women into the field. A lot of companies like to take in women as well. But the thing is, there's a retention. There's a problem. So I find that there is this situation, not among the younger generation as per se, but among the older generation, there's a certain, still that viewpoint is there. So I think that is one factor which is to be considered. Then the other thing what I see is the ladies who come up in this field, I mean, they come up on their own, basically, with their own strength. They don't have proper role models, they don't have mentors. And this is something I think we should actually promote. We should promote and give visibility to role models and mentors, so that women know that there are people who have succeeded, who have done this, who can do this, and, you know, get the strength that they can do it too. So there's also limited training, challenging assignments, opportunities. There's a lot of problem regarding harassment and safety concerns. And of course, there's another problem which is coming in. A lot of women, according to a study done recently, they say that they had to leave the career by the age of 25 because they had to get married and they had to have kids. And they don't see the possibility of staying within the field like afterwards. The thing is, this is even before maybe they finish their license, maybe they get that impression into their head from the surroundings. So this is actually the work-life balance concerns is actually a major fact that will affect people from, or especially women, from coming into the field. And also, of course, male-dominated organization and cultural norms. Of course, this is a male-dominated industry. The higher careers are all male-dominated. So women have to actually move with the guys, the men in the field. And there's also something like this. When we take the organizational structure, the men's perception of the women is also very important here. That goes back to my first point, which is the bias. And also weak institutional support system, because support systems are in place. But the problem is they're a bit weak at this time. So there are things that we should do to strengthen these. So maybe we can get more input from our Achala over here, who can let us know more details about what I have just said. Over to you.
Thank you, Anna. I was thinking the same thing, because here, Achala, who already on board, here with us today. Thank you, Achala. Your story represents both resilience and the changing tides of the industry. That's why I am wondering, you recently returned to sea after many years. What changes have you noticed in shipboard culture and support for women compared to your early career years?
Yeah, thank you everyone giving me this chance so that I can voice out myself. Yeah, actually I started my sea career by joining University of Malta in 2003. By that time, I was the only female student in my batch, and there was lots of pressure on me, forcing me to leave this course because their demand was, this is a male-dominant field, so a female will not fit in this one. But anyhow, I managed to start my cadetship in 2005 with Ceylon Shipping Corporation. Actually, there I worked like equal work I was performing there. And after 2008, I got my class 3. I joined as a third officer. I noticed, especially some ratings, they find it very difficult for them to digest the fact that they have to take command from a female, because a female is an officer while they are just being ratings and they are males. So I was going through, I'm talking from my personal experience here. And yeah, then in 2003, when I'm coming back, after so many years, I've noticed there are lots of policies have changed, accommodating female seafarers. I was so happy to hear that. And I one time encountered one of the institutes. I personally visit them, and they have one full batch of female students. And I was so proud to be a kind of a mentor kind of a role model for them. I just had one day visit to them, and I was having time with them. I was so happy to have them there. And actually, the like very change, so many changes are there, and they have given 24 hours kind of a support service. They can talk to them anytime, but during our time we didn't have anything like that. I mean, my early time. Now it's very good. There are so many changes, but when I'm joining the ship in 2024, I noticed that still there are people who think that women are not in the ship. They are not allowed to be on board. Like some old generations, still they have that closed mindset, thinking that we are not capable. And apart from doing our job, we have to prove that we can do it. So it's very hard and it's very tenuous. And but there are some younger generation I noticed, and they are more cooperative, they are more collaborative, and they welcome female, and they don't care about your gender. Mostly they care whether you are fit for the job and whether you're doing it okay. Yeah, these kind of changes I have noticed. And so far I was the only female on board so far as a seafarer. So for me, working with men is not a big deal. And I've noticed when there's a female on board, they tend to be more relaxed, I guess. But it depends on your mindset, right?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for sincere explanation. I appreciate it because I am going to give an example on it right now. I was thinking the same. Before I begin, I want to sincerely thank all the men who joined this panel today. I know it's not always easy to step into a conversation about experience you do not personally live through, but your presence here means a great deal because psychological safety cannot improve without collective awareness, just like Dr. Asif said. So I want to invite you into a very simple exercise of empathy. Just imagine for a moment that a characteristic you were born with it, something you didn't choose or cannot change, shape the way people speak to you, joke about you, doubt you, or evaluate your competence. Imagine having to think twice before entering a room, before giving feedback, or before simply being yourself. This is the emotional reality many women at sea navigate every day, even in 2025, just like Achala said. From our clinical and training work at MHG, we see that while many organizations have mental health initiatives in place, psychological safety often remains a luxury on board. And for women, several needs and risk patterns are repeatedly overlooked. First, the emotional cost of constant vigilance. Many women describe having to stay on alert more often than their male colleagues, monitoring tone, shared spaces, power dynamics. This continuous scanning is exhausting, yet rarely acknowledged. Second, the impact of subtle exclusion and microaggressions. Just like Achala said, they may seem small in isolation, but over time, they wear down confidence, belonging, and the willingness to speak up. Third, the emotional burden of deciding whether to report an incident or not. Women often weigh, will this make me safer or will it make things worse? That silent calculus itself is a major psychological stressor. And I believe it is not something we didn't experience in a daily life as a woman as well. Fourth, isolation and lack of gender-specific peer support. Most women still sail without another woman on board. The emotional implications of that isolation are wildly underestimated, I think. And lastly, the dual pressure of competence and self-protection. Women are doing the job like everyone else, while also managing the mental load of staying safe. This divided attention impacts well-being, yet it's rarely included in risk assessments. So for me, the biggest overlooked need is this: the gap between policy and lived experience. Until women constantly feel safe, supported, and able to speak without fear or repercussion, psychological safety will remain something written but not lived. That's why I believe these discussions and this experience will help you a lot to navigate ourselves and make better life at sea for women and for everyone else. I would like to go on with Dr. Asif now.
Fatma, excuse me 1 minute. Before you go on with Dr. Asif, I just want to remind to our audience, our attendees here, that they may feel free to share any questions, comments, anything they would like to share with us, so we can make this more interactive. I have already launched a poll, and I will launch another poll now in a while. So yeah, please feel free to make your questions, raise your voice too. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Sofia. We really appreciate other voices. So I'm going to continue with Dr. Asif right now. This is the main question here, I guess. How can unions and international bodies better support companies in implementing gender-sensitive well-being programs, not just drafting them?
That's quite a $1 million question, Fatma. So yeah, but again, I think that is an important thing, that when we are talking about well-being and mental health, like 5 years back from the ITF side, it was always a struggle for us to work with employers. But I think now, as I say, International Chamber of Shipping, other big companies, they are involved with us in terms of developing policies and developing program. So yeah, I think we are on the right track with the global employers organizations to develop program. And I think from the union side, the biggest thing what we are doing is to create the awareness on the issue, because as I say, like simple pregnancy test, women even are not aware of that. It's not compulsory. I think the biggest thing, we are as the union and our affiliates, and as I say, we represent almost 500,000 seafarers. So, and we have unions everywhere where there's the seafarers coming from. So our unions are creating lots of awareness on the reality. Again, we are engaging with the global employers at the global level, also the national level. So yeah, so the point from our side is about engaging with the employers is the key. And as I said, we have a policy with the Chamber of Shipping on zero tolerance on harassment and bullying. That's something quite strong, where the employers saying that we are with you if there is a case of harassment and bullying. We will deal with it in a very firm way, and whatever the power, Achala mentioning about the power equation, so it doesn't count. So yes, so we are working at the highest possible level to tackle this issue. Again, as I say, policy could be there, but it's all about implementation. And again, working with the global employers, we can develop policies. But again, from our side, we are working with the global employers body for the implementation. For example, one company, one ship captain or one chief engineer constantly bullying, harassing a women seafarer, and it was reported. Then going through the channel, we talk to the company and talk to the body and make sure that the proper justice has been done to the issue. So yes, so for us, it's not about the policy, but engaging at the ground level, working with the seafarer, because, for example, Achala comes from Sri Lanka, so we have a union there. So our seafarer, our union is trying their best, but yes, it's a long time. We need more time to create more awareness. But for the most important, that if there's a case of harassment and bullying on board ships, especially, there's a procedure. I think that's important, that it's rightly done. I think that's the thing we are doing from our union side at the global level, but at the national level, our union are doing it. Yeah. So basically, At the global level, we are doing the policies and make sure that international employers body are on board. But for actual things happening at the national level through our national union, like Sri Lanka, USS, India, Nusi, Philippines, Amusu, in Turkey, Dadar, Lebanese, so yeah, so that's the way we work. And again, I feel good that more women are raising their hand. No, it's not right. I don't accept, and I want to report it. I think the biggest issue and challenge for us, more and more seafarers report about the issue, and then don't take it granted that yes, women can be harassed. No, women cannot be harassed. Yeah, so that's the things we are doing, Fatma. And again, I think this sort of forum really opens up the door for more people know about it. And it's again, because sometime, as I say, I always believe that policy is just a piece of paper. It can be in the HR room or in a and you can make that look so nice and a beautiful, glossy. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's all about making sure the policy is implemented, more people know about it, and more women. I use the word like break the silence and raise the voice. I think the raising the voice is so important. And like, a women seafarer, Achala raising the voice, Anna as a women seafarer raising voice, you as an academic, and Sofia as an academic raising the voice. I think that's the thing we need to do more. And I can assure you that ITF will be working with you all on any platform and to make sure that more and more women qualified, as Hannah mentioned, is all about qualified. If you're qualified, why not? Like what I can do as a seafarer, as a chief officer, captain, or whatever my position, if I'm good enough, technically sound, Fatma can do it as a chief engineer. Anna can do it. So yeah, so we are always happy to collaborate, develop partnership, get engaged in the conversation, discussion, consultation to move it forward.
Yeah, what I hear from you, Dr. Asif, international bodies already working on it. We need more communities and who are really have this awareness and support one another and maybe break the silence together and enforce the companies and national bodies to make adjustments as need. Yeah, I feel the same. So it reminds me of Anna's perspective. I want to continue with you, Anna, because you are from the maritime training side as well. And this is my question. How can maritime training and leadership programs integrate gender equity and well-being, not as a compliance topic per se, but as part of professional identity and culture?
Thank you so much. And of course, let's start with this topic like this. Now, when we take to integrate women, it's also like there's an economic viability. It is proven by research, several researchers, that if you have more women working in any workplace, the profitability of that workplace increases. This is a well-known fact. That's why we have so many projects encouraging women into every field, including maritime. So now when we take this subject on how we can improve, we have to see that gender equity is a core component of professionalism. Like Dr. Said said, right? Women cannot be harassed. We have to be accepting of that. And that should be a core of our professionalism when we take that. And then when we talk about this topic, it's always good to talk from real seafarers like Achala, who's really sailing, who's really in the job, who's, on the trends, on the know-how, Stories from her is so powerful for us to change the industry and to see the industry as is. And of course, we have to build strong mentorship into the structure of the maritime identity itself. For example, Achala, I hope one day I'll see you as a captain. And I know that even now you are a very good mentor to many people. So we have to build people like that into the structure of the maritime industry, make identity, create a culture that gives them visibility. And we have to integrate well-being into the definition of operations. For example, now when I say that, one example could be to make things fair. When the ships are, having a structure, when they're having the ladies on board, to install cameras in the corridors. A very small thing. Nowadays, there's cameras in the engine room and all that. But installing cameras in the corridor will ensure that if any issue happened, both the parties are safe. Both the parties, men and women concerned, have a clear and cut, the truth is, you can find the truth. So we have to normalize women's presence also through visibility and representation, like I said before. And we have to establish accountability structures that enforce the culture of and develop the culture of continuous practice for this kind of subject. So that will be more beneficial for us in the future to go ahead with this. As per my research, I have come across this framework. This is for the mitigation of unconscious bias. Okay. So on one way, this is a bit of theory, which I'll take just 1 minute to explain. I know it might be a bit boring, but bear with me. So on one side, we have the culture and traditions, feelings and values and relationships upon social norms. And to do this, the mitigation should come from digital training of programs, awareness, and mitigation for policies. And this is what we came here today to discuss, how to bring the policy to practice. So over to you all again.
Thank you, Anna. It was so simple, yet so hard to achieve at the same time. I think it will take time, but we are getting there. So maybe, Achala, you can illuminate us. What personal or institutional factors made it possible for you to return and progress toward your chief mate qualification?
Yeah, basically it's my sister, and she was always my backbone, and her husband, with their support and their encouragements. That's how I am here again, holding my ground. And my daughter, she's very understanding and very helpful young lady. Thanks to her and her support, of course, that's why I'm here, and my family especially. And I must give my gratitude to Shipping Ministry and Merchant Shipping Secretariat of Sri Lanka because of their system of allowing seafarers to revalidate their certificates. Otherwise, my return will not be official, actually. And yeah, so my present company who changed their policies, allowing a female seafarer on board, and which allowed me to get my required sea service towards my chief mates. And yeah, my friends actually in this photo represents my well-wishers and my true friends. And yeah, this captain is personally, I must thank him because of him, my dream become a reality. And all those well-wishers, whoever they are, apart from people who try to pull me down, there are lots of force helping me, guiding me, encouraging me. So everyone, I'm very much thankful for those people. This is how we actually hard work. Sometimes men refuse to do this, but I was not refusing because this is how we show how much courageous we are. So yeah, we are equally working together, enjoying together. Life on board is very happy when you're collaborating, right? Not even on board, anywhere.
Right. And thank you very much for sharing these photos with us, Achala, and with the rest of the attendees here today. And you make us feel very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest shifts companies need to make is moving from reacting to crisis to designing systems that prevent them. And this doesn't require huge budgets. It requires intention, structure, and consistency. Let me share a few practical steps that we see working across the maritime sector. I know that there are a lot of people as a crew manager joining here today. So I want to give them an example how they can prevent and support women at sea. You can start with early screening, not incident reports, short well-being check-ins, soft skill assessment, or psychological risk scans during onboard handovers and crew changes help identify patterns long before they escalate. We have to be careful from the beginning. Second, build predictable support touchpoints. What do I mean by that? Mental health cannot rely on reach out if you need help. Fixed routines, monthly safety conversations, or brief resilience, micro trainings, confidential check-ins. I mean, when the contract starts and at the end of the contract, you should make support accessible and normal. Third, train officer and supervisor in micro skills, not only policies. Most crises on board start with tone, fatigue, or miscommunication. Tools like de-escalation, active listening, bystander intervention, and emotional first aid prevent 70% of issues before they surface. And the fourth one, create psychological safe feedback channels that are truly low risk. Anonymous reporting, median pathways, and the clear message. Speaking up will not cost you your contract. You should encourage early reporting and trust. And integrate well-being into operational planning, not as an extra. Fatigue management, cultural awareness, gender inclusion, rotation planning, and interpersonal dynamics must be part of our safety management systems. And finally, measure the right things. If you only measure incidents, you only see crisis. But if you measure connection, team climate, support, resilience, and communication patterns, you see future risks and can act before harm occurs. So for me, proactive mental health systems are not about waiting for individuals to break. They are about creating environments where people don't have to reach the breaking point in the first place.
Very well said. Thank you, Fatma. Very well said. And we have one question and one statement from the audience, and I would like to share. And whoever of our panelists would like to reply, please go ahead. So Nicoletta is asking here, how can gender inequality in the seafaring profession and the maritime sector more broadly be effectively eliminated? Do you see significant signs of improvement so far, or are we still at a very early stage? Who would like to reply to Nicoletta from our panelists? Dr. Asif, Anna? Yeah.
Yes, I would like to reply this question. Of course, we have come very far compared to the early stages, because when we were like around 20 or 30 years ago, especially, it was even more, the harassment was part of the culture, like almost, even when we cross the equator, there's the baptism ceremony, right? But now, more and more we are moving away from that culture. Actually, more and more we are accepting, and we are moving away from that kind of thing. So it is improving, as I see, and especially among the younger generations, the this Z generation, there are more acceptance of women, as I can see. What do you think, Dr. Sai?
With you, like I think, like again, Achala is an example that, like like as she said, she feels so comfortable. She doesn't care even, if she's working with a male-dominated ship. So, I think when I from the ITF side, we work very closely with the schools. So, Maritime Academy is like in every part of the world, especially seafaring supplying country, Philippines, Indonesia, India, Sri Lanka, Turkey. So I think the younger generations are more bolder. I think we need to prepare the women cadets to be bold and have the courage to stand up, raise the voice, raise the hand, not tolerating what is not right. I see things are changing a bit slowly, because when I go to the school, I can see more young seafarer, are really ready, and they are more confident, and they know that yes, it's a male dominated industry, but I am good enough. So yeah, I think things are changing slowly. And again, we should, from our side, I forget to mention. So we are also working with the schools and maritime academies, so that the young women seafarer are aware of all the like safety net they have, and it's a good career. It's a challenging career. We must also tell them that it's a challenging career. It's not an easy career, but it's a very, very rewarding career also. But we must not tell, oh, there's no challenge. There's so much good money. Just join sea. It's not true. It's a very demanding, very challenging career, but very rewarding also. So we have to tell them the reality. I think that's the most important thing.
Thank you very much, both. And we have another statement here. It looks more like statement that I would like your comments. And our friend here is saying that I think that there needs to be women involved in development of the policies, something which I don't really see. There is little to no collection of sex disaggregated data, which is critical for development of any policy to actually be effective. I recently saw a hotline where female seafarers can call anytime to report an issue anonymously. This to me was not developed considering the fact that so few females work in a company that they would be easily identifiable if they make a report or complaint, especially if it is an easily identifiable gender issue. The repercussions for women when they speak up are real. I can attest to that from my own experience. Your comments on this? First, the fact that more women needs to be involved in the development of the policies. Are we involved, Anna and Dr. Said, women, on the development of these policies?
I think today I have only one man, 4 women are there. I think that really shows that, so women are involved in the process. And I think, again, I think things are changing. For example, ITF, again, the head of the ITF Maritime department is a woman, Jacqueline Smith. She's a seafarer from Norway. So I think like all the men, we are working under her leadership. So I think things are changing at the policy level. Again, it's all about, are you good enough? If you're good enough, you can work. So I think that's the whole point here.
Thank you. Anna, any comments?
Yeah, what I would like, sorry to cut in. What I would like to say is the cultural focus. Now, when we say women in leadership, a lot of women tend to stand back because of the cultural focus, especially when it comes for Asia. We are more looking for a man to lead according to the culture. Unfortunately, when we bring that to the workplace, that makes us step back from responsibilities because we are looking at someone else to lead instead of us. So that cultural focus it should be eliminated. It's not an easy thing. As Fatma said earlier, nothing is easy when it comes to change, but change is necessary. So eventually, I guess we will have more women leaders, especially in policy making. And I hope we can all encourage that as well with this webinar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want to add just a quick note. Whoever wrote this comment is not alone. I believe there are so many women seafarers experiencing this kind of situation in everyday maritime life. This is sad, I know, but if you find your community, if you find your support group, and if you find a mentor who walks your way, your path before you, you can see and learn from them. Because just like Dr. Asif said, we cannot offer you a smooth job, you know? It is going to happen probably, but we can teach you how prevent these events and how to protect yourself and your well-being as an individual. So my message is here, you are not alone. Find your support group.
Yeah, and we can be your support group too. Thank you, Fatma. And I think the next question is more towards you, but of course the rest of our panelists can also make their comments. We have a question here. Do you think it's important to reframe the term mental health in a more progressive and acceptable manner?
This is an important question because as a psychology background, I always surprised that there is no maritime psychology officially designed or built so far. Aviation psychology is here, space psychology is here, but there is no maritime psychology, guys. It's so weird, you know. 2000 years, male and female sails across the world, and they lived in a ship at least 6 months. How can we live like nothing happened, you know? And this is important question because we have to define maritime psychology and human element to align with each other so that we can see what is the problem and how can we address this issue specialized in a maritime environment. So I think we can do that.
Okay, thank you, Fatma. One more, our attendees are very active, and I want to give to many as possible the opportunity to have their questions replied. So one more question is, how can maritime organizations encourage cultural change that promotes respect, inclusion, and equal career opportunities for women? Anna, would you like to take this one? Yeah.
Definitely, I would like to answer this, and it's a very good question as well. The thing is, a cultural change is necessary. This should be the focus of us if we are going to make policy into practice. I think that should be the main focus for all of us. Culture, of course, doesn't come immediately. We cannot expect tomorrow we'll wake up with a new culture. Okay, this is a difficult field, yes. This is a challenging field, yes. But always, in every place, women were able to change the culture. And we have seen that throughout the years, right? How we are able to have a better culture than before. You take 100 years ago, women did not even have a right to vote. They even did not have a right to have property. Now look at women now. This is all, progression. Same as in anywhere else. In maritime, we will have to have progression. It will not come immediately. And how we do that is by taking these little steps. First step is we should always give visibility to ladies who are actually doing the job. Give them recognition, give them mentorship, give them support systems. Now, for example, women who have children, make them have a kind of support system that when they go on board, that they can, there's someone to look after kids, or maybe they can take their kids also if this is cruise vessels. Have this kind of, support system supporting women so that we can, have a more inclusive culture. And of course, those things won't come immediately, like, now I don't think, any of those can come immediately. So it will be a small change every single day. And we as women cannot work alone. We have to work with men as allies into this. And both men and women should work together for this.
Yeah.
To create a change.
Yeah.
That's what I can say.
And this, exactly this statement you just mentioned, Anna, brings me to probably our last question here, because we're running out of time. And our friend here is asking, how should the current trend of young men identifying as anti-feminists, as well as the influence of the manosphere on world politics, be addressed to prevent a backslide? How can we preserve the gains we have made and further improve? Because I think it cannot be done by women alone, as you just mentioned. So how we can preserve our gains so far in the maritime industry? I believe it's the main question here.
I think Achala is really good example here because she shows us her picture with his team and laughing, working, doing same job, and interacting with each other. Of course, we experiencing anti-feminist movement in everywhere, in maritime, in daily life, in everywhere. However, we can still find some connections in between female and male seafarers. So if we create this connection, we can build more trust and more support in maritime industry. So maybe if they have some questioning thoughts about a woman seafarer, you can be the first woman who can connect with them and show them that we are also equal, we are also doing the job, and we are not, some monster or anything like that. We are just like you.
Thank you, Fatma. Anna, Achala, Dr. Said, any comment on that?
I like to give a small comment. I know it's very difficult to change people who do not have open minds. But if we can have like whatever workshops or things like make male and female feel more comfortable around each other, so this might can have great influence on changing some people's. I'm not saying everybody, but we can try to do something that definitely will be effective. That's what I'm thinking. They need to interact with each other. That's most important.
Correct. Thank you very much. I think I need to wrap up now this very interesting conversation, which can be endless, I'm very sure. Apologies if there are more questions that we didn't manage to reply. So as we come to the end of today's session, I want to thank each of our speakers, first of all, for their honesty, their expertise, and their commitment to making this industry safer and more supportive for women. We've heard about the gaps between policy and practice, the cultural barriers that being long before someone steps on board, the lived realities of women at sea, and of course the psychological dimensions that often remain invisible until they become crises. But we've also heard something else, that change is absolutely possible, and much of it begins with small actions taken consistently. So whether you're a leader, a colleague, a trainer, or a policymaker, we hold part of the solution. And as we've learned here today, supporting women in maritime is not a women's issue, it is a well-being issue, a safety issue, and of course, a human issue. So thank you all for being part of this conversation and for helping us shape an industry where every woman can work, grow, and thrive with dignity and safety. A recording of the webinar will be shared with all registrants after that, and take care. Thank you for contributing to a safer, more inclusive maritime industry. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sofia, Fatma, Dr. Said, and Achala. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.